Looks like the World Economic Forum is ripping off Captain Sweeps.
Hello, everybody. This is Captain Sweep's 5-minute message of the day. And I was pondering, I was sending a message to the Rev and trying to figure out our connection, our relationship. And it's so easy to get sort of caught up in things. I just get lost in everything. We lose touch with ourselves, who we are, what we want to do. And there's this big picture out there. And we as an individual have some sort of connection to it. And I know I have these grand plans, schemes, visions of how humanity could interact in business differently than we are currently doing. One based upon love rather than based upon fear. And this might seem like a pipe dream, and I may come across as crazy. Each of us has just ourselves to deal with. Of course, we have all our relationships too, but it strikes me as very poignant that you have the individual and the collective. And then if you're raising states of consciousness, as Ken Wilber has seen, that the ever upward spiral is going back and forth between the individual and the collective, the individual and the collective, the individual and collective. And there's different types of beings within that, like who am I as part of a group and who am I within my own identity? Who am I as part of a group and who am I within my own identity? And I think each human being is constantly in a state of bewilderment regarding our interactions with all the other human beings. And now, because of what is occurring on the planet right now, we have a lot of time to ponder just who we are and what we're doing and why we're doing it. And you may be asking yourself, the essential questions. Who am I? Why am I here? What am I supposed to do? How do I make a living? Who do I interact with? Why do I interact with them? How do we communicate? What happens when we communicate? And you may or may not have a belief or confidence that things are going in the manner that you would like. And I would suggest to you that you really have to clearly define. You really have to know exactly what you want. Go into your personal space and really think, feel, sense, whatever it is you do, and come up with your ideal. How do you want to live your life? Really reflect on this. That's your starting point. Because until you know, if you don't know that, you're sort of always reacting to everyone else around you. And when you have a clearly defined ideal, you can then communicate and interact with other humans in a different manner than if you don't. If you haven't defined your ideal life, if you haven't defined where you want to go, if you haven't defined who you want to be, we're sort of in this current or stream of life, and things are happening all around you, and you may feel a little lost as an individual. And you're wondering why all these things are happening around you. You're sort of trying to figure out how to sort of get what you want, right? I mean, there's this kind of life where you just go along and everything is as it is. People phone you, people drop by. But deep inside you, there's this being that needs expression. There's this you is just you, right? And not many humans or people are probably coming in and saying, well, who are you? What do you want? What do you want to do with your life? And we have this inner world. We're constantly having thoughts and we're having feelings, and we don't generally share these with other people. We keep these to ourselves, and we tend to keep it inside, and then we give the world an impression of who we are, but we don't generally be honest about the truth, what we really feel or what we really think, because we don't trust that these people are going to honor that and to treat you well. Do you know what I mean? So, I know I'm looking a bit orange here, and maybe a bit funny, and maybe a bit slow, and maybe I'm not entertaining you enough. But I just, the message of the day is just, I would like you to sort of honor your own being, honor who you are, and know that you are like a cell in the mind of a being that is so much more than all of this. There's a lot more to life than what normal schools and books and things allude to. So there are so many things that are trying to get your attention. And I know I'm trying to get your attention by saying this. Why would you listen to an orange man? Right? But I'm speaking to every individual human being. And if you see this, I just want you to know that, that I've had an experience with this being, and it's an incredible experience. And all you have to do is sort of go inside and say, hello, I'm here. Can I speak with you? And then that starts the communication. It's up to you. It's maybe a sound, it may be light, maybe it could be anything. I mean, everything's kind of alive. Everything responds when you pay attention to it. And your mind is the focus of your attention. It's like you're listening to me now. Your mind is focused here. You're listening to my voice. But what is that which is the awareness that is following my tone of voice? That's you. And whoever you are, is an individual speck in the mind of God, whatever that is. But it's beautiful because you have individual identity. You have the free choice. You have the ability ability to do what you want, be what you want. Isn't that wonderful? I mean, as humans, we have this existence. We have this consciousness. We see, we feel, we hear. We are a thing. But sometimes we're not quite sure just what we are. Why are we here? It's a great exploration. It's a magnificent journey. And I think, all the prophets are, to me, anyone who comes to a conclusion about what life is about, it's about how you treat people and how you're treated. That's it. Everything else is your choice of what you're going to do, what you're going to believe, who you think you are. But this God, or whatever this being is, who knows? It's beyond me. Seems to have some sort of interest in what we do with what we have. And it's up to us to decide on what we're going to do. And so it's like you're always being watched by some benevolent being. And you either believe that or not. You either know that or not. But when you have an experience where, let's say, a big guy comes in and goes, hello, like every cell, every part of your existence is looking at you and you're going, what is that? Then you look at everything different and go, oh, okay. I think I'm going to assess things differently